Stop! You violated the law. Stop right there, you criminal scum. That is pretty much the last thing any Oblivion player wants to hear. And it kind of gets me thinking of a bit of a funny story about how I finished that game. Oblivion was one of the first open world games I started playing. I started way back in 2019 and it was amazing. I didn't really have a background in video games, so even though it was, over a decade had passed since it had been released, I was absolutely amazed. And I went all in. Would you believe it, my character was a female Argonian. And so I'd pretty much committed to the main quest, and I'd done a few side quests. I was doing the Knights of the Nine as well, sort of parallel, but the main quest was sort of where my focus was at. And I'd been playing and playing and playing. I grinded through Allos for Bruma. Oh, gee, wasn't that a slog closing all those Oblivion gates? And I remember I had myself a entirely free morning. In fact, it could have been, a morning and an afternoon. My wife was taking my son out for some reason, and I had pretty much a 4 to 5 hour stretch where it was all mine and I could do what I liked. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to try and finish the main quest of Oblivion. And so I got through the Battle of Bruma. I closed the main gate. Gee, wasn't that timer a thrill? You've only got limited time and, are you going to make it? I got through. And so then I went back and Martin told me, you're going to need to go to Mancor Cameron's Paradise. I got through that. That was, also an amazing experience. I killed Mancor Cameron. I took his robe. I remember I had to take his robe after I killed him because I knew you couldn't go back. And so then I get back to Martin and it was time to take him to the Imperial capital and light the dragon fires. And I'm like, gee, this is happening. I was looking at my watch and I'm like, gee, I've probably only got an hour or so until everybody gets home. I'm going to finish this game today. That was such an amazing feeling. And so we get to the Imperial capital and I'm with Martin and we're explaining the situation and I'm being told you got to go to the Temple District. And just as I exit one of the meeting rooms, a guard comes up. And again, it's stop right there, you criminal scum. And I'm arrested. And I cannot believe it. During the most pivotal part of the game, I'm just about to take Martin to the temple and finish the main quest, and I'm being freaking arrested. And I have no idea why I'm being arrested. I didn't really have a bounty on my head that I knew of. I think perhaps maybe I might have inadvertently killed a guard during the battle for Bruma. I don't know. And so first I think, you know what? Okay, arrest me. And it takes me to the jail cell. I'm like, what's going on? This is not where I want to be. And so, no, I want to go back. So I go back to my previous save. But the problem is, I'd run out of save slots. In fact, I'd run out of save slots. I think there's about 250, 260 on a PS3. I'd run out of save slots way back just after Allos for Bruma, just before I pretty much, all my gameplay, hours worth of gameplay, was just gone. All I had was the autosave. And I realized that what I'd been doing for, days and days and days of gaming was saving my progress on the autosave because all the save slots had been filled up. And so I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, okay, I can't go back. I can't go back. How on earth am I going to do this? Because if I went back to my previous save, I'd just lose the whole day's worth of progress. And so I thought, you know what? I'm just going to have to make it work. And so I go back to where I got arrested. That was where the autosave was. And I'm like, no, I don't want to get arrested. So I resisted arrest. I hit the guard. And when I hit the guard, all my armor fell off because I was the Divine Crusader. I was wearing my armor. And so the moment I committed that crime, all my armor fell off. And again, this is during the most pivotal moment of the game. I'm standing there, a female Argonian in my underwear, all my armor's slipped off, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And so I pause the game again, and I'm just sitting there thinking, what on earth am I going to do? And then it dawned on me, all I have to do is take Martin to the temple. I'd been trying to fight some of these, demons of Mehrunes Dagon, and, they were sort of running through the capital, all hell was breaking loose. And I thought, hang on a sec, I don't need to fight them. I actually don't even need my best gear. All I have to do is get Martin to the temple. And it didn't occur to me that I could probably do, a fast travel. I'd been running pretty much the whole game. And my stats for, running and agility were through the roof. And so because there was no going back and I just had to make it work, I thought, you know what? I'm going to put on a Mage's Guild robe and I'm just going to run there. And you know what? I didn't just run. I pretty much leapt. I jumped and I jumped and I jumped. And I certainly hoped that Martin was following me. I couldn't really see him behind me, but I got to the temple and that's when it all happened. That's when, if you played, I don't want to do a spoiler, but you know what happens to Martin, you know what happens to Mehrunes Dagon. And I'm just sitting there in disbelief that it actually worked. This is how it ends. This is how I played it. And it was the biggest few moment I think I've ever had in gaming. And so for the Hero Kvatch, the Divine Crusader, the future champion of Cyrodiil, to basically end the quest in their underwear, jumping with Martin to the temple, that's pretty much my favorite memory of gaming. Tell me what you enjoyed in the comments below. Bye.